Are viruses new? Who is the cause for this? What do we need to do? This is Jeff from Small Big Call. Let's talk about viruses. Viruses are very tiny germs that cannot reproduce by themselves. They are made of a genetic material inside of a protein coating. Viruses can cause familiar infectious diseases such as the common cold and the flu. But they can also cause very severe illnesses such as smallpox, Ebola, and SARS. Viruses are like little hijackers. They invade living normal cells and use those cells against their will to multiply and reproduce other viruses like themselves. This can kill, damage, or change your cells to make you sick. When you get a normal virus, you might not always get sick from it. Your immune system may be able to fight it off. For most viral infections, treatments only work for symptoms, while your immune system fights off the virus. Antibiotics do not work for viruses. Are viruses new? No. Earth is approximately 4.54 billion years old. Viruses are approximately 1.5 billion years old. And humans, well, we are only a few million years old. But viruses did not evolve first. Both them and bacteria descended from an ancient cellular life form. Like humans, bacteria evolved to become more complex. But in the case of viruses, they became even more simpler. Because viruses are so simplistic, many biologists didn't even think that they could be classified as a life form. Today, it's tempting to think of viruses as nothing more than mere pests. But not only are they agents of mass destruction, some researchers believe that 100 million years ago, viruses uploaded a gene in a mammal that helped the placenta evolve, paving the way for modern-day humans. And as for the more abstract question, whether viruses qualify as a life form, they do. This is because both bacteria and viruses descended from an ancient cellular life form. This means that viruses would be living, but in a unique way. They are alive. When a virus infects a cell, that reunion forms a complete living system. Some people say viruses cannot survive without help, but if you look closer, that applies to us too. We can't live without plants. Life is an interconnected system. Now let's talk about coronaviruses. The coronavirus family is a huge family full of virus species. Some of these cause diseases in birds, while others cause diseases in mammals. But some specifically cause diseases in humans. These human coronaviruses were first discovered in the late 1960s. Coronaviruses in humans cause respiratory tract infections. Corona means crown, which refers to the unusually large crown-shaped spikes sticking out of their membranes. They get attached to cells to attack and reproduce. Usually bird-infected coronavirus cells don't infect human cells, but mutations are a natural part of the virus life cycle, which means viruses keep changing. You can simply imagine this as a change or copy error when virus copies transfer from one to another. In most cases, mutations make the viruses useless, but in rare cases, the mutations can cause detrimental changes in the virus, making it capable of attaching to new hosts. So when humans come in contact with those infected animals and birds, the mutant virus can jump over. and cause many infections in the human cells. This is called a spillover infection. Sometimes the spillover infection infects 1 or 2 people before going extinct, but on a rare occasion, this virus will mutate again inside another host cell and become very deadly. Sometimes it can cause a pandemic or an epidemic, the worst being pandemic. One of the most recent spillover infections is called severe acute respiratory syndrome, known as the novel coronavirus, or most famously known as COVID-19. But before we get deeper into this virus, we need to learn more about the organ that gets most infected by it, the lungs. As you may know, your lungs help you to inhale and exhale. Oxygen is the most important gas for your body cells. They need it to stay alive. Lungs take oxygen from the air. It is then delivered to the bloodstream. Then the heart can pump the rich oxygen blood to the whole body. Then the body produces a lot of carbon dioxide, the gas that is not needed, otherwise known as the waste gas. It is carried by the bloodstream to the lungs, so the lungs help exhale the carbon dioxide. Coronaviruses transmit when one person coughs or sneezes, and those droplets land on the surface. Say another person then comes and touches that surface and then touches their face, then they'll get infected. That's how someone can get infected with these coronaviruses. COVID-19 is a respiratory disease. When a person is infected, the virus enters the person's lungs and damages the lung cells, otherwise called as the epithelial cells. Lungs are lined with billions of these epithelial cells. Coronavirus connect to specific membranes of the infected person's cells to inject the genetic material. Now the cells start copying and pasting the virus inside. The virus keeps copying itself in the cells until the cells are ordered to self-destruct by the immune system due to the infection of them. Now the hair-like projections called cilia, which move around to protect the lung cells from mucus and debris, are also dead, adding to the debris, thus hindering the body's ability to keep stuff out of the lungs and trachea. This inflammation causes more and more damage, killing other healthy cells. But until this point, the coronavirus did not do much damage yet until it releases the person's own immune system against them. The immune system, which is supposed to protect a person, is infected by the coronavirus, which in turn causes confusion among them. So the immune system sends more cells to attack the coronavirus than needed, wasting all the valuable resources. All the immune systems now get infected with the coronavirus and start killing the healthy tissues of the lungs. In most cases, the immune system slowly regains control, kills the infected cells, and intercepts the viruses which are trying to infect new cells, and clears up everything, and patient recovery begins. The majority of patients will recover in this mode, depending on their immunity. In some severe cases, millions of epithelial cells are killed, and with that the lung's protective coating is completely damaged, which means the alveoli through which breathing occurs can be infected by bacteria. The issue escalates to acute respiratory distress syndrome, otherwise known as ARDS. ARDS happens when the fluid builds up in the lungs and the patient gets pneumonia. When it gets worse, the patient needs advanced life support. In extreme severe cases, the immune system fought to full capacity to kill all the coronavirus, but by this time, the bacterial infection severity led to irreversible damage and sometimes death. Past viruses have originated from many countries. Past spillovers have originated from many animals, such as bats, chimpanzees, and chickens, and more. So it is not one country or one species that is the cause. Who is the cause for this? We, humans as a whole, have created this whole situation. We have created a human-dominated ecosystem and made very remote places extremely less remote than they used to be. We are pushing into the last wild spaces on our planet. We pave roads, build factories, and construct buildings. We dig mines, and we do this all through the last wild spaces we have on our planet. We burn and plow through forests for agriculture and living. We consume and kill animals towards their very extinction. When doing this, the human race comes in contact with part of the wildlife population we have never been in contact with before. These populations can carry many diseases and viruses that we are just not ready for. What do we need to do? We need to keep away from those wild spaces and leave those animals alone. We need to start thinking about sustainable living, improve healthcare systems in countries of the world, everywhere, and allocate healthcare funds. We also need to pair medical teams with military forces for faster response, build a global alert and response system for disease surveillance in order to be ready for an emergency, better scientifically back up communication plans to avoid chaos, and we need better education, scientific research, and development. Plan, but don't panic. We can get through this together. Remember to keep washing your hands for 20 seconds with soap and water. Try to make that a habit. Sanitize your workplace, phone, home, and everyday objects you touch, and make sure to avoid contact with your eyes, nose, and mouth if you have unclean hands. Cover your cough and sneeze, and stay home if you are sick. Humans are very social animals. Uncertainty over disease status, quarantines, lockdowns, shelter-in-place orders, self-isolation, and social distancing can leave unpleasant experiences for humans. It causes separation from loved one, loss of freedom, boredom, dramatic effects, and most of all, it leaves humans confused. Modern human life is sophisticated and engineered to give us all the luxury, which made us forget about the ecosystem. But we are a special few. Only humans in this century have all the luxury. If you look back at the other 99% of human history, life was completely different. It was always about coexisting with nature, not dominating it. The modern human, more social than ever, has been presented with one of its greatest challenges yet: social distancing. All this to protect us and everyone and everything from this virus. This is Jeff from Small Big Hall. Please stay safe and start thinking about sustainable living. We can get through this together. If you like my videos, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with others. This is Jeff from Small Big Hall, signing out.